Championships continue in Rome tonight with Greg Foster of the United States attempting to repeat his Helsinki gold medal in the 110 highs. Ohio State sensational Butch Reynolds barely made it to tonight's 400-meter finals, where innocent Egbunike is definitely the one to beat. The 200-meter favorite tonight, defending world champion Calvin Smith of the U.S. While in the women's 200 final, Silke Gladisch, who beat teammate Heike Drexler in the 100 meters, is favored to pick up her second gold. For the USA, Florence outer space Griffith could surprise if she runs as hot as her outfit. Also today, the first 5 events of the decathlon, and all the eyes of Rome on Great Britain's Daley Thompson, who has finished high above all the challengers in the last 2 Olympics. Thompson, the only man besides Bob Mathias of the USA to win the Olympic decathlon twice. Forwards or backwards, the world's best all-around athlete of the 1980s. The gold here in Rome would add to his credentials as the best ever. Championships of track and field are brought to you. Olympic Stadium in Rome, a hot Thursday in this city, 90 degrees, 60,000 plus at Olympic Stadium for day 5 of the World Championships of Track and Field. Good evening, everyone. At the halfway mark of this competition, a day off for the athletes, a recess yesterday, let's take a look at the medal count, the report cards, the major powers as it would figure. 1, 2, 3, East Germany 12, 1 ahead of the Soviet Union, the U.S. with 4 medals on Tuesday with 7 total. That would have to rate disappointing thus far. Tonight, you're going to see great athletes trying to repeat their world championship from Helsinki. Daley Thompson starts in the decathlon, the first 5 events. Greg Foster in the 110 highs. And Calvin Smith in the 200 meters. Also, will East Germany's Silke Gladisch, already the winner here in the 100 meters, can she pick up the gold in the 200 meters? Florence Griffith is the top hope for the U.S. But the headline event, the one that'll be first on the marquee outside the stadium, would be the men's 400 meters. Butch Reynolds, a sensation this season from Ohio State, challenging the man to beat innocent Egbunike from Nigeria, who ran at Azusa Pacific. The 200 meters, we start there. Here's the first heat. Let's go to the stadium and Charlie Jones.
Semifinals, men's 200 meters, top 4 finishers through to the finals in just under an hour and a half. Lane assignments, lane 1, Queneherve, Pavoni in lane 2, Spearman in 3, Mahorns in 4, Jon Regis in 5, Calvin Smith in 6, Nodge in 7, and Berger is in 8. Calvin Smith in lane 6, not that good a start, but he runs the turn so well. But right now, in lane 5, it is Jon Regis of Great Britain. It is Regis and Calvin Smith as they come around to the final straight. In lane 2, it's Pavoni of Italy. But it is Regis and Calvin Smith. Jon Regis, Calvin Smith finish 1-2. Mahorn of Canada, I believe, got through along with Pier Francesco Pavoni of Italy.
Calvin Smith in lane 6. On his left, Jon Regis from Great Britain coming through, running the turn better. But look how close Calvin is to the turn. He runs it better. Regis got there first. Now down the home straight. Is Calvin relaxing, or is he letting Regis go, or is he trying to win? I think Calvin was trying to win, or at least pull up even. And it looks like Calvin had him by a little bit.
Wallace Spearman of the United States, 5th, does not move through. Second semifinal men's 200 meters, lane 1, Krylov right is in 2, Kobats in 3, Da Silva in 4, Queneherve is in 5, Hurd is in 6, Tilley in 7, and Kip Kimboy in 8. Floyd Hurd of the United States with a pretty good start. He is in lane 6. Inside of him is Queneherve, and inside of Queneherve is Da Silva. And coming around the turn, it is Floyd Hurd. Hurd with Queneherve inside of him, and then Da Silva, and moving in 3 is Kobats. But it is Floyd Hurd coming across with Krylov, I believe, of the Soviet Union inside in lane 1. Queneherve was also there. We'll have to check for 4 to make sure. We'll take a look at that stretch run.
Floyd Hurd coming off the turn. It's hard to tell now, but he was first when they came off the turn. He just relaxes down the straightaway, and that's the key in this race, to get up to full speed and then relax down the straightaway. This is the faster of the 2 heats. Floyd Hurd relaxing through to the finish. He looks very good heading into the final.
So the final 8 set for the men's 200. We'll see that later in our program this evening. Calvin Smith with a shot to repeat his Helsinki victory. Good story here in Floyd Hurd of the United States. He was an alternate. He's in the competition only because Carl Lewis elected not to run the 200, and Hurd ran a big semi. Regis of Great Britain, De Silva of Brazil also figured as possible medal candidates, and there's the rest of the final 8. Now let's go to the 200 meters for women. In the first semi, we have Gladisch of East Germany, who won the 100 meters, has the gold already. Also Ottey, who earned the silver in the 100 meters here in Rome. To Charlie Jones, Olympic Stadium.
Semifinals, women's 200 meters, top 4 finishers through to the finals. In lane 1 of the first semifinal, Pauline Davis. In lane 2, Vineta Ikanica. In lane 3 is Nadezhda Georgieva. In lane 4 of Canada, Angela Bailey. Pam Marshall of the United States is in 5. Silke Gladisch, the favorite, East Germany, is in 6. Merlene Ottey of Jamaica is in 7. Follow out Egbunike of Nigeria is in lane 8. Silke Gladisch of East Germany in lane 6, out with a good start as expected. Merlene Ottey also with an excellent start, already closing the stagger as they come around the turn. It is Gladisch, Ottey dropping back a little. Georgieva of Bulgaria running well in lane 3, and here comes Ottey. And also that is that Pam Marshall? Yes. And she will move through to the finals. Top 4 finishers through to the finals.
Merlene Ottey of Jamaica. She trains now in the United States. Looks very strong the last 50 meters. That's when she really hits her top speed. Coming out of the curve on the outside, we see Gladisch in the blue top and white shorts. She gets a phenomenal start because she's got those short legs. She gets into a running stride very quickly. On the inside of her is Georgieva with a red top. She also is short. She has a good start. This is where, though, Ottey starts putting on the burner. She has that extra gear the last 10 meters, very relaxed. Pam Marshall in the blue also is a very tall runner. She comes up for 3rd, and she will make the final.
Here are the lane assignments in the second semifinals. Women's 200, lane 1 is Ulrika Savari, lane 2 from Poland. Eva Kasperczyk from the Soviet Union in 3. Maya Azarashvili. Gwen Torrance of the United States is in 4. Florence Griffith of the United States is in 5. Mary Onyali of Nigeria is in 6. Heike Morgenstern of East Germany is in 7. And Marie Cazier of France is in lane 8. All eyes drawn to lane 5. That's Florence Griffith in that full speed suit. Looks like Spider-Woman. She's in lane 5. Outside of her is Mary Onyali in lane 6. And Florence is running well. It is Florence Griffith in lane 5. In lane 2 is Kasperczyk. Onyali, Griffith, Kasperczyk, and Gwen Torrance. All 4 will move through to the final.
Good thing with that bodysuit that Florence is running well, too, because everybody is watching her. Florence came out she came out very late in the season, around March, but look at her here with a very good start. Florence has one of the best curves of anybody. She has the lead here. She's making everybody run at her. Good drive all the way through. Kasperczyk on the inside lane, too, running strongly. And I think looks like Gwen Torrance also is coming through to make it to the final in all white.
So the USA well represented. All 3 ladies make it through to the finals of the 200 meters. Florence Griffith, spacesuit and all, looks to be an outstanding chance for a medal, maybe a gold. Pam Marshall, Gwen Torrance of the USA. Gladisch, the 100-meter champion here, and Ottey of Jamaica will be tough. We talk about a tough field. The 400-meter finals tonight for men has an outstanding cast of 8, and we're going to meet the top candidates right now.
I think I've got more experience right now, and then I hope, looking at the whole situation with, Reynolds running 44 once and all this stuff. Like, when I first saw his 44.09, I think I went and overtrained for that first day. I went and just did what I usually do in 1 week in 1 day. But that didn't really help that much because I knew, well, he's blessed. God has blessed him with, that time, and I can't change it for him. So instead, I just started training myself, started putting more effort into what I can do within myself instead of what I can do, against other people. I just start thinking about, well, if I could train this hard, I could do a lot better, you know, than people expect me to do.
I think I'm sparking the rest of the quarter miles to run their best. And so far, like myself, I hate to be beaten. And I guess they feeling the same way and getting a little deeper down and bring out the best times in them. But hopefully when we line up again, head-to-head, I'll come out on top again.
Die Explosion in der Weise, diese Entwicklung.
The other 400-meter runners will make the times amazingly high in Rome. With the times I've run this year, I feel I'll definitely be in the finals, but I can't predict if I'll win a medal.
The Olympics 1968 in the thin air of Mexico City, American Lee Evans ran a 400-meter race which still defines the event. Officially 43.86. Almost 20 years later, that record still stands. And years later, Evans would coach the national Nigerian team. One of his pupils, Innocent Egbunike. Egbunike is ready. The 400 finals coming up.
Welcome back to the World Championships of Track and Field in Rome. I'm Charlie Jones, along with Olympic gold medalist Frank Shorter and 1984 Olympian Missy Kane. Missy, a very exciting semifinals in the women's 200 meters.
And I think, Charlie, if they get a slight tailwind, it could be a very fast final. We also had the finals of the women's 400-meter hurdles. My pick for the gold is Sabine Busch of East Germany. She's the fastest. But we do have two Americans who made the final, Shawanda Williams and Judy Brown-King. Judy Brown-King won the silver medal in the '84 Olympics. But in her semifinal heat, she looked a little ragged. We've heard that she's a little bit under the weather, but she had a day off yesterday, so she can recoup. She could be an outside chance for a medal.
And Frank, for the men, 400-meter finals.
Well, Charlie, Butch Reynolds has had a marathon year, and I think his current situation points out the negative impact of the U.S. collegiate system. He began racing for Ohio State in January. He had commitments to relays, conference meets, other races all through the year, and really peaked in June. Whereas Innocent Egbunike from Nigeria, who I think will win the race, could be more selective about his racing and really peak for today's final. So were he healthy and rested, I think Butch Reynolds could win, but I think Innocent Egbunike may run slower than Butch Reynolds has this year, but I think he'll win.
Frank, here are the top 5 all-time performers. Of course, Lee Evans with the world record. Larry James, Butch Reynolds, Innocent Egbunike, both in the race here. And Alberto Juan Terena of Cuba. Here are the assignments. In lane 1 is Roddy Haley of the United States. Roberto Hernandez of Cuba is in 2. Tomas Schoenlebe, East Germany, is in 3. Gabriel Tiaco of the Ivory Coast is in 4. Innocent Egbunike of Nigeria is in 5. Derek Redmond of Great Britain is in 6. Butch Reynolds of the United States is in 7. And David Kitur of Kenya is in lane 8.
Innocent Egbunike, the man we picked to win this race. Butch Reynolds, who was in great form earlier this year, but he's had a long, long season. If he were in better shape, more rested, it would be a classic confrontation.
Men's 400-meter finals. And Butch Reynolds with a good start outside. He is in lane 7.
Egbunike going out very, very fast.
Egbunike closing the stagger on Derek Redmond. Egbunike now in the lead off of the stagger as Reynolds, 2 runners outside of him, begins to drop back. Reynolds on the left is really laboring at this point. And it is Innocent Egbunike.
And Tomas Schoenlebe coming up on the inside. Could have an upset here.
Schoenlebe takes the lead. Tomas Schoenlebe of East Germany. It is Schoenlebe, Egbunike, and then Butch Reynolds comes in to save the bronze. What an upset. Tomas Schoenlebe of East Germany, surprising everyone.
Including himself. He does not believe he did this. Tomas Schoenlebe on the inside in the blue from East Germany, white shirt, showing that strength and the ability to run heats as well as the final does show. He's the best world junior runner for a long, long time, had little off time last year, coming back, showing right here that he has the strength to make it through the heats, the semifinals, and the finals.
An unofficial 44-34, if it stands, a European record for this man with a smile, Tomas Schoenlebe of East Germany.
Thomas Schoenlebe of East Germany, the 22-year-old, breaks his own European record, 44.33 for Schoenlebe. Egbunike earns the silver, and Butch Reynolds of the U.S. takes the bronze. Schoenlebe in German means beautiful life. I guess gold is beautiful. And for Butch Reynolds, who finished only 4th in the semis, bronze isn't a bad color either. Maybe the day off helped him. Let's go to Dwight Stones.
Butch, I've got to ask you, do you think this season was just too darn long?
It was a long season. I anticipated a long season, but not quite this long and competitive. This is a great season. And every time I ran, I had to run to my best ability, which is like 44.1. And going out every meet, it's hard to do that. But today, like I said, I came up short. I couldn't push that 44.1 out like I needed.
You've really changed the complexion of the way the 400 meters has been run this year. Do you think you've gained the experience that you're going to need in the Olympic year?
Quite sure. I gained the European circuit, which is different, and the type of people you have to run against. And most of all, I gained knowledge. I know what it takes really to go the distance and be ready when you get there.
Good luck to you next year.
Thanks a lot, Dwight. Thanks.
So Butch Reynolds earns a bronze and learns from the experience. We'll look forward to seeing what happens in 1988. Now to the decathlon. Through the years, these are the men that are the home run hitters of the sport. You remember them forever. Bob Mathias won twice, Rayford Johnson here in Rome, Bruce Jenner, and in the 80s, Daley Thompson of Great Britain, winning in 1980, again in 1984. First day of competition this morning, the 100 meters, the long jump, and the shot put. Thompson, two of his strongest events, the 100 meters and the long jump. For a report on how he fared, let's go to Charlie Jones.
Dick, in the first event of the decathlon, the 100 meter, Daley Thompson in lane 3 won, but not by a large margin. This is a man who has not lost a decathlon in 9 years to 12 international events. His winning time was 10:67, but his margin gives him only 4 points on the field. Now let's go to Dwight Stones.
The second event of the decathlon, the long jump, and Torsten Voss of East Germany on the runway for his third attempt. He's an excellent long jumper. And on this attempt, 25.8 inches, right about average for Voss. Very good points. Now, Daley Thompson. He was having a real problem in the long jump. This was his third attempt. He started out in track and field as a long jumper. And a very disappointing performance for Thompson. 24 feet, 8.25 inches, way below par for him. Now the third attempt of Jürgen Hansen. He really needed to make up for a disappointing performance in the 100 meters. And Hansen redeems himself with a mark of 25 feet, 2 inches. Back on track for Hansen. Third event, shot put. Daley Thompson. Third throw. 49 feet, 6.25 inches. He's still way behind his record pace. Now, the United States' Gary Kinder. He really gets into this event. 53 feet, 3 inches. Now let's go back to Dick.
Next up, the finals of the women's 400-meter hurdles. East Germany's 24-year-old Sabine Busch, former world record holder, very good at 400 meters, still working on her hurdling technique.
I definitely have to continue working on my technique. I have always had a problem with my rhythm, and I've been trying hard to concentrate on that. Since the World Championships are the most challenging competition I run, I hope that by running 3 times before the finals, my timing will be right.
Welcome back to the World Championship Women's 400-meter hurdles. This is the final. The world record is 52.94. Maria Stepanova holds the record. Here are the lane assignments. Ambrosina of the Soviet Union is in 1. Shawanda Williams, United States, is in 2. Busch of East Germany, the favorite, is in 3. Cornelia Ulrich, you might say the co-favorite, is in 4, also from East Germany. Hollander of Finland is in 5. Sandra Farmer of Jamaica is in 6. Judy Brown King of the United States is in 7. And Deborah Flintoff King of Australia is in lane 8.
Sabine Busch, she's really the favorite of this event. She's the only woman in this event that's gone under 50 seconds for a flat 400 meters. She's new to the event, though. She took it up in 85 because a teammate, Marita Koch, has the world record still in the 400 meters flat. So she wanted to go to the World Cup, so she went in the 400-meter hurdles, and it's been sensational. There's Judy Brown-King, our best in the United States. She's been a little off the last couple of days. We heard she was sick. We hope the rest day yesterday took care of the problems.
Judy Brown-King in lane 7. Sabine Busch in lane 3. Busch with a good start. And she and Ulrich go out stride for stride in lanes 3 and 4.
Also, way out in front, too, is Debbie Flintoff-King from Australia. She's in lane 8, and she's strong.
Sabine Busch in 3, Ulrich in 4. Flintoff-King outside in lane 5.
Both these Germans are really ready for this event. You can see them in the blue tops and the white shorts. It looks like their step pattern is going well. Also, Sandra Farmer on the outside in the yellow top and green shorts is really running well right here, and she seems that her steps are fine.
And Judy Brown-King of the United States dropping way back. She is out of this race, and is Sabine Busch. Sabine Busch outside. It is Sandra Farmer of Jamaica. It is Busch and Sandra Farmer. It is Sabine Busch. And then outside in 8, Deborah Flintoff-King for 2nd, and Cornelia Ulrich of East Germany for 3rd.
Sabine Busch is so strong and she's so fast that even if she makes even a few mistakes, she still runs well. Here we see Sabine Busch. She has the lead right here. She's so strong. It's so hard to get your legs up at this point. You're so tight. But yet she's keeping her form. She keeps her arms down very low. All of a sudden now on the outside, you see Flintoff. Very good form right here. Doesn't have to chop her stride at all. But also the East German in the 2nd lane. Ulrich is coming up. Sandra Farmer, they're all fighting for the bronze because Sabine Busch has the gold. Flintoff takes the silver. Ooh, it's going to be close. It looks like the other East German also got the bronze.
Cornelia Ulrich finishing 3rd. That, of course, is all unofficial. The time, unofficially, 53:63, if that holds a championship record.
East German women, what a juggernaut. It's the most powerful in the world by far. 2 more medals for the East Germans. Sabine Busch, blue eyes to match the uniform, wins the women's 400-meter hurdles. It's Debbie Flintoff-King of Australia, surprising silver, and Cornelia Ulrich of East Germany is 3rd. Shawanda Williams and Judy Brown-King, the 2 U.S. finalists, finished 7th and 8th. The men's 110-meter hurdles is next, and this is the world record Greg Foster will be shooting for. 22-year-old Ronaldo Skeets Nehemiah in red, running 12.93 in Zurich in 1981, and it was Greg Foster in white that chased him home. Nehemiah later would wear the red of the San Francisco 49ers and tried to hurdle defensive backs. The 110 highs are next.
The final of the men's 110 meters hurdle. In lane 3, Greg Foster. Lane 4, Mark McCoy. World Indoor Championship, Indianapolis. They were side by side, but reversed, and here's what happened.
Coming over the hurdle, Greg Foster just tripped up, lost his balance, ran into Mark McCoy, and they both just come crashing down. McCoy's trying to stay away, but Foster is so big that once he gets out of going one direction, he just can't hold himself together, and they both go down.
The world record is held by Ronaldo Skeets Nehemiah of 12.93, and here are the lane assignments in the final today. Igor Kazanov of the Soviet Union is in lane 1. Colin Jackson of Great Britain is in 2. Greg Foster in 3. Mark McCoy in 4. Jack Pierce of the United States is in 5. Jon Ridgeon of Great Britain is in 6. Carlos Sala of Spain is in 7. And Arto Brugger of Finland is in lane 8. 10 flights of hurdles.
If Greg Foster in the blue runs a technically correct race, he will win. He's the fastest man in the field. But with Greg, over the last few years, it's win or crash and burn.
Mark McCoy, probably the best start in the field. He's in lane 4. And Foster is left in the blocks, gets a terrible start. McCoy has the lead. Colin Jackson running well. He drives back. Here comes Foster. Foster has to come from behind. It is Foster. Foster. And he takes it. Jon Ridgeon of Great Britain finishes second, and Colin Jackson finishes third. And look at Foster celebrate.
That's one happy man. He knows he ran that technically correct race. Not his greatest race, because he had a terrible start, but he knows from the third hurdle on, it was all Greg Foster. That is one happy man.
Unofficial 13:21, and the wind is okay.
Now he realizes he's tired. He was so elated, he did not know he was tired.
Oh, that's an excellent time for Greg Foster.
Especially given his start. He knows how lucky he was to really be only that far behind. Maybe he was thinking technique, but look at Mark McCoy in the red. Boy, Greg Foster, he's a big man. It's hard for him to get going anyway, even when he reacts with everyone else. So he's at a disadvantage. But look, technically, he's so good. He's almost hurdling at the same time, even though he looks to be behind. And this is where he starts to power and catch up. One more hurdle, he's going to start to draw even. Now we have it a little later on, and he is just literally running away with the race. He's just so much quicker in between the hurdles, so controlled that if he can keep himself going in one direction and not sideways, he's the best in the world.
In many respects, the best race that he has ever run. He had the late start. And now watch his technique over the hurdles. Watch how close he comes. And he's still brushing. He butts 1 and 2. He hits the first 3. Clears 4.
Look how his head stays the same, and McCoy's head goes down as they go over the hurdles. McCoy moves his head. Foster's head stays right even. Great technique. McCoy was, when you say the word ragged, that's what McCoy was in this race.
And back to the start.
Watch McCoy in red. He is off. Foster is left, but it doesn't matter. And this is the kind of race that if you're a good technician, the way Greg Foster is, once he gets rolling, and it took him 3 hurdles to get there, top end, he was the fastest man. Watch McCoy's head go down as he hurdles. Boom, it goes down. Greg Foster's head stays even. Better technique. Once he gets rolling, Greg Foster is very, very hard to catch.
I see out there.
And here's the champion, Greg Foster of the United States.
So it's gold to gold from Helsinki to Rome for veteran Greg Foster. He redeems himself after falls in the World Indoors and the Pan Ams and reaffirms his position as the world's #1. Hey, surprise for the silver and bronze. 2 Brits, Ridgeon and Jackson, take second and third. And now with a 29-year-old winner, here's Dwight.
This is a happy man. You went all the way through the race. Terrible start, but you're the world champion.
It feels great, Dwight. It's been a long week. I've been waiting for these 2 days to come, and it took so long. I got out real good the first race. Second race, I had a lot of trouble. I think I overwarmed up. The heat was kind of deceptive. And I just basically came out today and just tried to hold on. I got out slow, and I guess I just concentrated like I did indoors this season. I'm happy with that. And I came out on top.
I'm so happy for you because I know when you're left in the blocks, that's when you really press. And so much has been made about your falling this year. Did you think about that when you got left in the blocks?
For the last 3 weeks, that's all I thought about. Getting out here and not making any mistakes. I think I felt in order for me yesterday, in order for me to lose, I would have to come out here and make a mistake. And I made one at the beginning, but I caught myself and came back at the second or third hurdle. And I'm happy for that. Like I said, it's a longer race outdoors. It's a little bit easier to catch up, but I didn't want to take any chances, so I tried not to press and just gradually get back up there.
My colleague Frank Schroeder says you cleared the last 2 hurdles by a ton. Were you just determined to make sure you got over those last 2 and get to the finish line in good shape?
Oh yes, I was. I knew I was behind from the beginning. I didn't know where I was in the race at the last 2-3 hurdles, and I thought I'd just go ahead and reconstruct at 8 and just go all out and hopefully come out on top. And thank God I did.
The monkey's off your back. Congratulations.
It's definitely all. Thanks a lot, Dwight.
An understandable collection of joy and relief in the face of the winner, Greg Foster. Now to the finals of the 200 meters for women. Florence Griffith, the top U.S. hope, we understand, has discarded the spacesuit look, and she'll run in more familiar attire. Here's Charlie.
This is the final of the women's 200 meters. The lane assignments: Pam Marshall of the United States is in lane 1. Ava Kasperczyk of Poland is in 2. Silke Gladisch of East Germany in 3. Merlene Ottey of Jamaica is in 4. Florence Griffith of the United States is in 5. Mary Onyali of Nigeria is in 6. Nadezhda Georgieva, Bulgaria, is in 7th, and Gwyn Torrance of America is in lane 8. The world record is 21:71, co-held by Koch and Dreschler. Silke Gladisch in lane 3. Florence Griffith is in lane 5, running without the bodysuit. Merlene Ottey is in 4. 3, 4, and 5 should be the race. It is Silke Gladisch in 3, and she may just run away from it. Coming into the final straight, it is Gladisch. Gladisch is out in front by 5 or 6 meters. Here comes Merlene Ottey. Here comes Florence Griffith. It's going to be Gladisch, Griffith, Ottey. 1, 2, 3. Pam Marshall of the United States finishes 4th.
Look at that time.
21:73 unofficial. That is close to the world record.
Silke Gladisch, she had the confidence going into this race. She won the 100 meters, and then last week she had her best time in the 200 meters, 21:79. She was ready. Silke Gladisch has such a great start. She just has the field all behind her. Everyone's trying to chase her. But look at her right here. Even though she's got the best speed out of the block, she controls the race because she keeps her arm drive low. Quick knee coming up. Behind her, Florence Griffith in all white is just now catching Ottey. Long arms right there, really driving down through her hips, which is important to keep your control. Gladisch wins by a mile, but Florence Griffith gets the silver, and Ottey again gets the bronze. Gladisch, look at her. She can lean forward even when she's sprinting all out. That's hard to do. Ottey, you see in the yellow top, is kind of leaning back. That's hard. You want to keep that forward lean like Gladisch. Quick steps. She just looks great. She's so much in control. You've got to be in control all the way through the 200. If you tie up, you're going to lose. Florence Griffith keeping her cool, coming on the last 10 meters for the silver. And I believe Pam Marshall was 4th.
The wind, it's all right. 1.16 meters per second. The limit, of course, as you know, is 2 meters per second. And there's the champion. And her time just off, unofficially, just off of the world record.
So 22-year-old East German Silke Gladisch adds the 200-meter gold to her 100-meter world championship. Florence Griffith of UCLA, an NCAA champion, Los Angeles native, takes the silver. That's a career best for her, 21:96. And Merlene Ottey of Jamaica, the bronze. Ahead, our friend Bud Greenspan will focus on 1960. That man, Rafer Johnson, against C.K. Young in the decathlon. Throughout the course of these championships, we've been treated by Bud Greenspan. Memories from 1960, the Olympic Games held here in this city. Tonight, the decathlon.
The greatest decathlon in Olympic history took place right here at the Rome Olympic Stadium, 1960. Dick, between C.K. Yang and Rafer Johnson, and his Rafer starting the drama on opening day, given the honor of carrying the flag into the Olympic Stadium, followed by the 100 meters, which set the stage for the whole of the competition. Here's Rafer in his heat, winning quite easily in 10.7, and now the world waited to see what C.K. Yang was going to do in his heat. Well, he showed just what the competition was going to be over the next 2 days, because he defeated Rafer by 0.2 of a second. And so before the event, here now is the final event of the first day of competition, the 400, the first time the two met head-to-head, and C.K. Yang is just 3 meters out in front. Now, the amazing part of this whole first day, Dick, is that C.K. Yang defeated Rafer Johnson in 4 out of the 5 events, and yet Rafer Johnson led at the end of the first day by 55 points.
The capricious nature of the decathlon, if you have one big event consistent and all the rest stay close to the leader, you still can be on top of the point total. What happens in day 2?
That's what happened in day 2. In the 110 hurdles, Yang won again, another running event. But then in the discus, this was the key event. There goes Rafer with a tremendous heave. And now he gets 270 points spread over C.K. Yang, who did not have much luck in the throwing events. And as they got ready for the final event, the 1,500 meters, there's Rafer Johnson and C.K. Yang, friends, teammates, classmates under Ducky Drake at UCLA, and C.K. has to defeat him by 8 seconds. As you can see them coming down to the stretch with just a few meters to go, Rafer is right on his tail. It's not going to be 8 seconds. And Rafer wins the whole competition by 55 points. And now the two friends embrace each other at the finish line. One of the great dramatic moments of decathlon history.
You know, that moment for Yang, he crossed the finish line, hoping that that hug didn't come so quickly from Rafer Johnson.
He needed 9 more seconds before the hug.
Oh, that's great stuff. Well, Daley Thompson of Great Britain came here as the favorite to win another gold medal in the decathlon. He's had a troublesome day. The fourth event, the high jump. For a report, here's Dwight Stones.
With the bar at 6 feet 10 3/4 Daley Thompson of Great Britain is already out of the competition. This man, Torsten Voss, cleared easily on his first attempt. 6'10 3/4, a fine jump and good points for Voss. Voss's teammate, Christian Schenk, using the old-style straddle technique of high jump. Wait until you see this. This has not been done at this level for a long time. 7'4.5" with a straddle in the decathlon high jump. With that jump, Schenk moves from 12th to 2nd, and Thompson moves from 2nd to 5th.
The final of the men's 200 meters, the world record is 1972. Pietro Manet of Italy set it back in 1979. Here are the lanes. Lane 1, Attlee Mahorn of Canada. Jon Ridgeon of Great Britain is in 2. Floyd Hurd of the United States is in 3. Robson da Silva, Brazil, is in 4. Vladimir Krylov of the Soviet Union is in 5. Gilles Queneherve of France is in 6. Pier Francesco Pavoni of Italy is in 7. And Calvin Smith of the United States is in lane 8. Calvin is the defending champion. He's almost become the forgotten man of American sprinting, and yet he's having a great year.
He's having his best year since 1983. He's in lane 8, and the 200, I think, is the only event in track and field around the track where being in lane 8 can be an advantage because he's way away from them. He runs the turn very well. He could run away, and they could never catch him.
The key to the event, of course, is running the turn, and Calvin Smith does that chore as fine as anyone in the business.
And being in lane 8, the turn will be much more gradual, so he can actually run it faster.
All right, it's Mahorn, Regis, Floyd Hurd of the United States in 3, Da Silva, Krylov, Queneherve, Pavoni of Italy in 7, and Calvin Smith of the United States outside in lane 8. And Pavoni, as you see, of Italy in 7 has that wrap, and he's had that since the finals of the 100. Another crowd on hand, a great crowd, more than 60,000 once again, and they do cheer for their tie as they are cheering for Pavoni. Men's 200 meters. Smith, Pavoni, Queneherve, Krylov, Da Silva, Brazil on the right. Moving inside is Hurd, Regis, Mahorn in lane 1. And it's a good start. Floyd Hurd in 3 does not get a good start. Pavoni.
4th or 5th place coming off the turn. It wasn't an advantage being in front. And I think Calvin Smith hung on to win. Calvin not getting a good start. You can see that Pavoni on his inside is actually starting to make up the stagger. So Calvin not being able to see where everyone else was. He was much closer to the line in the semifinals. He did not run the turn well. You can see he's behind here, but he relaxes. Watch his head. It bobs back and forth because he's just staying relaxed, runs his own race down the straightaway, and I think he won it.
Unofficial 2017, a very good time.
Calvin Smith, like a great thoroughbred, rallying down the stretch to win by a photo, takes the gold. Gilles Queneherve of France is 2nd. Great Britain's Jon Regis takes the bronze. Let's go to the gold medal winner, Calvin Smith.
Calvin, I was a little worried when you had lane 8, nobody to draw off of, but because of your leg not being 100%, you think maybe the less of a turn in lane 8 might have helped you?
I feel it definitely did, and I was very glad that I got lane 8, considering the little problem I had with my leg, because running a sharper turn would made me run a little slower, and there would be more pressure on my leg. But being way out and very little turn, it really helped.
Having to pull down those guys in the straightaway, though, did it concern you that your leg not being quite right, that it might let go on you?
Well, I didn't feel they was going to pull. It's just a matter of keep going with the injury, with the pain, I mean. And I was able to do that. And the straight wasn't too bad. There was more pain in the turn than the straight.
Were you convinced at the finish line that you were #1 because all the photographers went elsewhere?
Well, I wasn't sure. I knew that it was close, and I just wanted to see the replay and see how it turned out.
Congratulations, 2nd-time world champion.
Thank you.
Calvin Smith lost his world record in the 100 meters to Ben Johnson on Sunday, but he wins his second world championship in the 200 meters tonight. A human thunderbolt, Calvin Smith, and he wasn't the only lightning seen here at Olympic Stadium tonight. About 8 o'clock this evening, a torrential downpour hit Olympic Stadium with flashes, frightening flashes of lightning and thunder. The last event yet to start, the Decathlon 400 meters. Despite the weather, they took the track.
The fifth event in the decathlon is the 400 meters, and it was held in the rain at the end of a long first day. Daley Thompson in lane 3, two-time Olympic gold medalist, defending world champion, world record holder, a disaster on the first day. He had a bad 100. He was a foot short in the long jump, down 3 feet in the shot put, cleared only 6.7 in the high jump, trailing by 162 points coming in to this event. Torsten Voss of East Germany, the man in first place. He needs to beat him here. 4.5 points for each 1/10 of a second. Daley Thompson, if he can beat him here, will have a good mindset for the second day, but more importantly, will pick up some valuable points. It is Voss and Thompson running 1, 2, and now Daley Thompson starts to drop back, and he will lose even more points. After the first day, he's in third place. He is down 193 points. That is too much to make up on the second day.
So after the 400 meters, Daley Thompson sits 193 points off the lead, a seemingly insurmountable distance. We'll see how he does tomorrow. A look at the medal count. The East Germans in the lead with 16, 13 of those won by their powerful women's team. The women would be leading all nations, men and women combined. U.S. with 4 medals tonight. In a second place with USSR, they were shut out, and Great Britain won 3 medals this evening. They're in 4th place. Good news, a couple of veterans on the U.S. team have qualified. In the steeplechase, 33-year-old Henry Marsh, and the oldest man on the team, 40-year-old John Powell, is through to the finals of the discus. Tomorrow, Carl Lewis will start at the qualifying men's long jump, and then the matchup between Jackie Joyner-Kersee of the United States against Heike Drexler, the finals of the women's long jump. They share the world record, 24 feet 5.5 inches. We leave you tonight from Rome by saluting 3 Americans good enough to repeat, champions in Helsinki, and repeating as champions of the world here in Rome. Edwin Moses, Calvin Smith, and they're represented tonight on the victory stand by Greg Foster.